common term heard in therapist circles these days is the word narrative. We each have our own narrative or story to tell. As a therapist, I understand that no one is more of an expert on your narrative or story than you are. Storytelling is not unique to therapy practice. God has been leading His people to tell their stories since the beginning. In Deuteronomy 6:20 we are told, Moses said, "When your children ask you in time to come, what is the meaning of the decrees and the statutes and the ordinances that the Lord our God has commanded you? Then you shall say to your children, we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand." In other words, when your children ask, "Why do you follow these rules?" you don't say, "Because I told you so." No, when your children ask, "Why do we follow these rules?" you tell them your story. You give them your testimony. Our stories are powerful. However, the enemy has taught us that our stories are final. We can get caught in the destructive and hopeless details of our past. In therapy practice, it is a secular therapy idea to help a client to re-story their past. In other words, give them room to tell their story and then help them see it in a different light. You cannot change the details, but you can empathize, which is a very important step, and then you can help them re-story their past. Help them see that rather than a victim, they are a victor. Once again, this very helpful concept is already in Scripture. Hebrews 12:2 states, "Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." You see, we all see life and hear one another through a screen. In 1 Corinthians 13, we are told that we see through a glass darkly. As we look through our glass to our past, we often see it darkly. We can tend to see it through the enemy's darkness. We also tend to see each other and hear each other through that same dark glass. But Satan is not the author and finisher of our story. Jesus is. Jesus can clean up our screen so that we can look back on our life with victorious clarity. This concept in no way takes away from the fact that our past might have been very challenging and very difficult and in some cases horrible. But what it does do is it helps us remember that we don't have to stay there. Our past doesn't have to be our past as we have known it. God can help us re-story our past. Stories, narratives, and testimony are an important part of therapy. They are also a very important part of faith development.